morning. We begin with the gut-wrenching news so many South Australians have been dreading. The outback search for little Gus Lamont has been called off. After 7 painstaking days scouring the rugged landscape around the family's homestead, police now concede the 4-year-old may never be found.
This is 4-year-old Gus Lamont, the little boy for whom South Australia launched one of the largest searches in its history. Helicopters roared overhead. ADF troops, infrared drones, and Aboriginal trackers scoured more than 700 square kilometers of the harsh outback. And yet, not a single clue was ever found. No clothes, no hat, no footprints. He had simply vanished without a sound. It was the afternoon of September 27, 2025, at a remote sheep station called Oak Park, south of Yunta. Gus was playing on a dirt mound near the family home while his grandmother finished up chores. At around 5 p.m., she called his name, expecting to see him come running toward her. But he didn't. Minutes turned into hours as the family searched every corner of the property. No sign of Gus, no sound of crying, no trail leading away. By nightfall, police arrived, and what began as a small family search would soon turn into a massive, military-backed operation. Despite hundreds of people on the ground and sky, not one piece of physical evidence, not even a single footprint, was ever confirmed to be his. Police later said, "There's no evidence of foul play," but there was also no evidence of Gus. So, what really happened to the little boy who vanished into the silence of the Australian outback? Within hours of Gus's disappearance, a massive rescue mission was underway. Dozens of police units, emergency services, and volunteers arrived at Oak Park Station, a sprawling property surrounded by nothing but dust, heat, and open land. By sunrise, the search had exploded into one of the largest operations in South Australian history. Helicopters hovered low over the scrub. Infrared drones scanned the dry ground for body heat, and Aboriginal trackers read the earth for even the faintest sign of movement. Soon, the Australian Defence Force joined in, deploying soldiers, ATVs, and high-tech surveillance equipment. Search crews pushed through thorny bushes, creek beds, and rocky hills, fighting 40-degree heat, snakes, and exhaustion. Every hour mattered because if Gus had simply wandered off, the desert heat could turn deadly in just a few hours. But as the days passed, one fact became impossible to ignore. Nothing was being found. No footprints leading away from the homestead. No discarded toy. No torn clothing caught on a fence. Even the sniffer dogs couldn't pick up a scent beyond a few meters from where he was last seen. By day 4, rescuers had covered an enormous 700 square kilometer area. And still the landscape remained completely silent. Not a sound. Not a trace. And that's when a chilling question began spreading among the searchers. If Gus really wandered off, where did he go? As the search stretched into its second week, police began shifting their focus. From rescue to investigation. Special detectives from Adelaide arrived at Oak Park, setting up a temporary command post on the property. They re-interviewed family members, workers, and neighbors. Anyone who might have seen or heard something that day. But the story never changed. Gus had been there one moment, and gone the next. By now, search crews had combed every fence line, dried creek, and cattle trail. Drones and helicopters had mapped the entire 700 square kilometer zone from above. Even satellite imaging was reviewed to spot anything unusual. But no one, not even the Aboriginal trackers, could find a single disturbance in the ground that matched a child's steps. One small footprint was briefly reported early in the search, but investigators later confirmed it wasn't Gus's. It was the first and last possible clue, and it led nowhere. Police held a press conference, confirming what no one wanted to hear. There's still no sign of 4-year-old Gus Lamont. No items of interest have been located. As the words echoed through the microphones, reporters could feel the weight of them. No items of interest. Despite thousands of volunteer hours, military equipment, and entire grids of desert mapped out, there was still nothing, and that's when the search officially changed its label from Search to Find Alive. to search for answers. As days turned into weeks, frustration began to rise. The community wanted answers, but there were none. Police insisted there was no evidence of foul play. Yet many couldn't understand how a child could disappear so completely, leaving behind no sign, no trail, not even a scent. The environment itself had become the biggest obstacle. The outback around Oak Park is unforgiving. Scorching heat by day, freezing nights, and endless terrain where tracks can vanish within minutes under wind and dust. Even expert trackers said it was like searching for a single hair on a beach. But as the official search wound down, whispers started to grow louder. People online began speculating about the timeline, about who was home, and about whether something more sinister had happened. It didn't help that social media filled with unverified sightings and conspiracy theories, many of which turned out to be completely false. Through it all, investigators maintained that the family was cooperative and had done nothing wrong. Still, the absence of any evidence kept fueling suspicion. Some began to wonder, was this truly an accident, or had someone made sure there'd be nothing left to find? The police now faced two impossible possibilities. Either a child had vanished in the most inexplicable way imaginable, or something darker had happened right under everyone's nose. And just when the investigation seemed to hit a wall, a new task force was formed, bringing fresh eyes, renewed searches, and a single desperate goal: to find any trace of Gus Lamont at all. With no physical evidence and no confirmed sightings, investigators and experts could only work with theories, each one more puzzling than the last. Theory 1. The wander-off. It's the simplest explanation, that Gus somehow walked away from the property and got lost in the outback. But after searching more than 700 square kilometers, experts say that's almost impossible. There were no tracks, no scent, and no signs of dehydration or distress. Nothing a 4-year-old could hide that well. If he had wandered off, something would have been found. Theory 2. Abduction. Some investigators privately considered the possibility that someone had taken Gus. But there were no tire marks, no strange vehicles reported, and no witnesses on the long, empty roads surrounding Oak Park. For someone to reach that remote station, take a child, and leave without a trace, it would have taken timing, precision, and luck beyond belief. Theory 3. Accident or misadventure. Could Gus have fallen into a hidden trench, a dam, or been attacked by wildlife? Search teams checked every waterhole, dugout, and burrow for kilometers. And still nothing. Not a piece of clothing. Not a single bone fragment. Each theory answered one question but created two more. If he walked away, why no tracks? If he was taken, how in the middle of nowhere? And if it was an accident, where is he? Even months later, police repeated the same line. There's no evidence of foul play. But there was also no evidence of life. Months have passed since that quiet September afternoon, but the silence around Oak Park has never lifted. The wind still sweeps through the paddocks. The same dirt mound still sits near the homestead, and somewhere in that endless stretch of outback a question still echoes. Where is Gus Lamont? His family still lives with the ache of not knowing. No goodbyes, no closure. Just an open space where answers should be. Every morning, they wake up to the same horizon, the same sky, and the same unbearable silence. Investigators have kept the case open, saying they'll follow any credible lead, no matter how small. They've promised the community that the search for truth will never stop, even if the trail itself has long gone cold. And yet, the mystery remains one of the most haunting disappearances in modern Australian history. A child vanishing in broad daylight, surrounded by open land, and leaving behind not a single trace. No clothes, no footprints, no sound. Just silence, the kind that lingers long after the helicopters are gone. For now, all that's left is hope. Hope that one day, someone, somewhere, will come forward with a clue that finally explains what happened to Gus. Because until that moment, the story of the boy who vanished without a sound will remain one of the Outback's darkest and most heartbreaking mysteries. What do you think really happened to little Gus Lamont? Did he wander off? Was he taken, or is there something else no one has uncovered yet? Share your thoughts below, but remember, only facts bring truth. If you found this story compelling, subscribe for more real cases that still have unanswered questions.